Today we're doing a mailbag segment here. I'm recording this video on Thursday night. I took the questions throughout this week, and just in case we sign a player, after this video is released, I did record it on Thursday, just an FYI, just in case if a player that you talk about either signed or didn't sign with the Lions or another team, just an FYI, it is Thursday. Let's get this thing going. All right, folks, we're doing the mailbag segment here. We've been doing this now every single Saturday where I take your guys' questions throughout the week for my videos and make a video about it. I try to keep it as relevant as humanly possible to free agency and the draft to the time period. So, again, these things are coming up while it is Thursday afternoon for me. So, if you see a player whom the Lions signed and we're talking about it in this video, that's just the way that it is right now. So let's get into the questions here and get this thing started. And here is the first one. Even though we made a trade already, would you trade for LJarius Sneed? I don't. First off, the Lions aren't trading for LJarius Sneed now. Give them the circumstances that they already trade for Carlton Davis. They gave up third-round pick, and they got 2 6 in return, one this year and one next year. They also signed Amik Robertson from the Raiders. Right now, you have Emmanuel Mosley, Amik Robertson, Carlton Davis. You have, obviously, Cam Sutton. Those are just right there, just the veterans right off rip, and there's other players they can get as well. So I think right now, when it comes to the cornerback position, they're probably just going to draft the guy in the draft. That will probably be the next bigger name for that position. Now, they could re-sign a Vildor or something like that, but, we're talking down the depth chart. But you're talking bigger name. I think that's going to be for the draft. I do. You already made the trade for a corner. So I got a question for you right there. Would you trade for LJarius Sneed? Why for yes and N for no? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get this next question up. What grade do you give the Lions in free agency? Well, I'm going to give it right now a B. I think a B is a decent grade here. We didn't get the high-end players whom I personally coveted. That'd be Danielle Hunter making a bigger splash move, like trading for a Haason Reddick or, picking up a LJarius Sneed, who we just talked about. But we got some solid players, right? And right now, again, while I'm making this video, you got DJ Reader visiting the Lions. I don't know if he's going to sign or not. So if he did sign, again, caveat to that. But right now, while I'm recording this, we got the 2 corners, one in a trade, one in free agency. We signed Marcus Davenport. I'm going to give it a B. Nothing great, nothing horrible. Right now, they're just trying to fill some holes and a little bit of depth there. Kind of expected this in free agency, though, right? We kind of expected the Lions to not be significant in moves like this. We didn't expect them to go all out and get gigantic contracts. We just didn't. We didn't trade for a Brian Burns or anything like that. So I'm going to give it a B. We still have holes. Guard. We, in my opinion, need to get a developmental corner, and that could be early in the draft. We still need to get a bona fide edge rusher and another defensive tackle. So I'm going to give it a B right now and go with that. Let me know your thoughts on what your grade for the Lions free agency period is for you. Mike, what players will you like to sign in free agency? There are already some players that the Lions could look at. A DJ Reader would be nice. I think that would be a good one to get if the Detroit Lions could sign him. And Evan Brown maybe for a backup role. A guard, that could be an option for the Lions. Signing your own guys like Josh Reynolds, I think, would be really important here. None really big names, in all honesty. I think these are more of depth-wise. Maybe DJ Reader would be the biggest name at this point. We can do, you could target a trade as well in the free agency period, so that's something. So maybe they don't get a good edge in the draft. Maybe they can't sign one in free agency. Then you can make potentially a trade for one. There's a couple names out there that you could trade for. I know Khalil Mack redid his contract, so maybe he's not Joey Bosa. They could end up doing something with him. Haason Reddick is reportedly available in a trade. So there's other ways for the Lions to acquire talent in the free agency period. Not a lot of big names for me, in all honesty, for the Lions to go after at this point. Just because we have the draft coming up, and we also got to re-sign our own guys like a St. Brown to a giant contract. And we expect that to happen here. Alim McNeill, we expect that to happen. So those are kind of what I'm looking for right there for that. And for sure, that is an option the Lions could do. It is what it is, right? So I got a question for you right now in the comment section. Name one player you want the Detroit Lions to sign in free agency. It may not even be a big name. Throw it in the comments below. Next question here. Any player you would trade for? Oh, literally just talked about that. Again, right now, trade? No. I'm going to wait till after the draft. Right now, no. I don't want to lose draft capital. We already made a trade. I want to see what the Lions can do in the draft. I want to see what the Lions can pick up. If there's any holes after the draft, I'm all about it. Make no mistake about it. I think that the Lions shouldn't have any holes coming into the season. So if there's a spot left for edge, I want them to make a trade after the draft. After the draft. But right now, no. I just want the Lions to have their draft picks that they've got. Draft players. And see what they can do for this team this year. We have done so well in the draft, and we have found integral piece of this team. I want all the pieces available for Brad Holmes to get it done. We got 7 draft picks. We'll probably maybe they end up getting a little bit more. Maybe they trade out around one, right? And they trade out and gain more picks. So you talk a trade. Trade would be for the draft, then up or down the draft. I'm perfectly fine with trading up or down in the draft. If they like a player, just go get him. 100%. That would be my trade right now. And again, Haason Reddick can get him maybe after the draft in a move. Who should they target for the draft after free agency? Ooh, great question here. There's a couple players, and it not necessarily have to be the pick 29. I think right now the number one guy for me, and he's moved up after this free agency period, is Cooper Beebe. Getting him at left guard, replacing Jonah Jackson at this point is what I want to see in the draft. That is guard is a priority at this point. A significant priority. It may be the number one priority. Okay. And Cooper Beebe, the Lions could get him, I think, in the second round. That's where I have him projected. He would immediately be the starter at left guard. He could be better than Jonah Jackson. He could be better. And you got to slowly revamp this offensive line because of next year with Frank Ragnow. So you don't want to completely revamp it in 1 year, like next year, right? You want to start the revamp right now. And that means going out and getting a guard in the draft. And Cooper Beebe fits the mold of Detroit. He does. Absolutely does. And I would love to have him on this football team. We talked about Kool-Aid McKinsley. If he's there at 29, I would love for the Lions to get him. I think that would be a great move. Even though we picked up 2 corners in free agency and a trade, still get younger at that position. Let's make this position solid. Not weak, solid. I would be fine with that. And though that's kind of what I'm looking for in the draft right now. Get an edge rusher, too. So those are the positions I'm looking at. But Cooper Beebe is probably my guy. I'm making him my guy. What do the Lions do about the guard position? We just talked about that. Cooper Beebe would be a great move for the Detroit Lions to get at the guard position. You can get some players in free agency, or a player in free agency as a backup role. I don't trust Sorsdale to be the guard right now, the starting guard. I don't think any of us should trust that he is a starting guard. He got benched last year. He actually looked pretty bad. He didn't look good. Now, I give 3 players to develop, so he's got 2 years to figure it out. But I'm not going to rely on him this year. And Awusika, he's not a starting guard. He'll have a good game or he'll have a bad game. He is a backup, and that's where I want to see him at. Lions need to draft their guard. Next question here. If you could draft one player, who would it be? Dang, I just literally talked about Cooper Beebe, so I'm going to switch it up here. My number one guy that I'd like the Detroit Lions to get, that's if he falls. I'm not wanting to trade up in the top 10 to get this guy, but maybe he falls a little bit. I like Jared Verse. Oh, man, if you put him opposite Vaden Hutchinson, you have a young combination of pass rushers for years. That would be amazing. If he fell. I'm not wanting to trade up in the top 10. This is a if he falls. Jared Verse would be great for the Detroit Lions. You would have Aiden, Verse. You have Marcus Davenport. Maybe they get a DJ Reader by the time I'm doing this. Alim McNeill. John Kaminsky took a pay cut. You got Joshua Pascal. Getting this defensive line finished, I want that to happen by the draft. With free agency and the draft. Get and finish this defensive line. Get it done. It is time to get it done. So those would be the players I would target in the draft and to get better for this football team, because we need the help immensely. We do. And again, watching this, any time a signing is going to happen, I'm going to make a video on this channel, so you're going to want to hit the notification bell so you don't mouse out, because free agency continues. Sunday, Monday, just keeps going on. So hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the Detroit Lions information here. Lions Nation Unite. We're bringing it. We're going to be live for the draft. It's going to be epic. LionsNationUnite.com for the latest and greatest gear. With that said, folks, adios.